Most people think building a new home in Australia is just about going out and choosing a builder. Choosing the wrong one can not only cost you a lot of money, but it can delay your project and ultimately just give you a completely different experience than what you were expecting. In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 main ways people design and build homes in Australia. We're going to look at the pros and cons of each and how they actually work in the real world. There are some subtle differences as well that most people really just don't understand, but they have a huge impact on time, cost, and quality. Option 1, project homes. We've all heard of project home builders, and honestly, it's where a lot of people start. The project home model allows for homes to be built the cheapest and most efficient way possible. The typical project home process is fairly simple. Choose a home, choose a design from a catalogue, they place it on your site, you sign your contract, then you go through the selections process where you can choose your finishes and things like that. They'll move into approvals, and then you're ready to start construction. If you have a simple block, maybe your budget's a little bit tighter, it can be a very efficient way to build. But this is where people often get caught out. They see the price, and that price you see is usually just the house by itself, nothing else. It doesn't actually include everything you need to build on your site. Things like drainage, OSD tanks, landscaping, retaining walls. And these things, they can add up pretty quickly. What can look like a $500,000 build on paper can easily push to $7, $8, $9, $1 million once you actually account for those things that are not included. They're designed for generic sites, simple frontages, heights, simple zoning. I mean, they're not typically great for sloping sites and things like that. Every site is unique, but the design doesn't change. Project homes have quite a specific delivery model. Trades themselves are working on pretty tight margins. The supervisors are managing 10, 20, 30 projects at a time. But this is what allows the price to stay low. For many people, this works. It works just fine. But you just need to understand what you're buying, what's not included, and the associated risks with that model, and whether that suits ultimately what you're looking to do. Your second option is starting with an architect or a designer. You design the home first, then you send it out to a few builders for pricing. Typical process is you're going to start with some concept designs. You can move into design development, start generating some working drawings and things like that. Engage all your consultants, your engineers, your stormwater guys, your structural guys. Once you've done that, you're then ready to tender out to a few builders. It gives you a lot of design freedom. You can produce something truly bespoke, something really tailored to your site, your lifestyle, and your vision. The big con, I suppose, with this process is you'll never really know what the cost is going to be. And this is where a lot of those projects fall over. Something like 80% of projects that get drawn never actually get built. So you will get wildly different pricing from all of those builders. You've been working through this design with the architect for months. They've been working very closely with you back and forth to not just generate the concepts, but really have a clear understanding of your vision. You send that out to 3 builders, and this is the first time they've seen it. So they're missing a lot of that context about all those little discussions you've had. Every builder priced risk differently. Every builder is going to make assumptions if the documentation is not fully resolved. And the result is you get 3 prices that are just completely different. The builders may not be doing anything wrong. They're most likely just making assumptions based off what they think, which aren't aligned with what your plans are. Now, these next 2 options are where things start to overlap. Custom design and build companies are where most people think they're getting the best of both worlds. You engage a builder, they design it, price it, and build it. You get more flexibility, better cost guidance, but in most cases, whether it's a project builder or a custom home builder, you're signing a building contract or committing to a tender prior to the design being fully resolved. And that means there's still a lot of decisions to be made. Those decisions obviously cost money. Project home builders and custom home builders, they don't make money in design. So they are incentivized to push those designs through quickly without fully resolving them. You're often still somewhat limited in terms of your choice of finishes and things like that. It's not until you move on and you move forward and you start resolving all the finishes that you get to understand the full cost. Most custom home builders follow the same process as a project home builder, but they just allow a bit more flexibility in terms of the design, and they'll allow more flexibility in terms of what you can and can't have. They do offer more cost guidance, but they're still running on tight margins and volume, and they're incentivized to build, not to design well. Option number 4 is an architecturally led design and build firm. These companies are not as common. They operate exactly the same as an architectural firm. They have architects, interior designers. They are very much led by the design, and they're not pushing the volume and the build side as much as a project home builder or a custom home builder. These are the projects where you get quite unique designs. There is a lot of flexibility in terms of the materials and finishes, but you're really getting that full experience of working with an architectural firm, as well as getting that cost guidance along the way. A big thing to take away, I suppose, with an architectural firm and a building firm as one, opposed to a custom home builder, is they will often fully resolve the design. So the architecture itself is resolved, the interior design is resolved, all your finishes, fixtures, items, everything's locked in. Your costings and everything, budgeting is done along the way, alongside all of that. At the end, you're signing a tender and a contract that is very aligned with exactly what you're gonna have. Not signing a tender and then going through and doing all your finishes appointments to then get all the variations and time, blowouts and things that come with that when you do things after the fact. The main trade-off with an architecturally led firm that is also a building firm as one is you often are spending more upfront to develop the design and everything fully prior to going into construction. But the reality is, when you're spending $1 million plus, to spend an extra 30 or 40 grand initially to remove as many of those variables as possible and balance the design ambition with the actual buildability and the costs and everything that comes with construction is a small price to pay. And there's not one size fits all. If you want speed, simplicity, and the lowest cost, project homes are going to be your best option. If you want pure design freedom, architect first. If you want affordability, a bit more flexibility than a project builder, and usually better quality than what you can expect from a project home builder, a custom builder may be the best choice for you. If you want absolute design freedom and the highest level of quality and integration, an architecturally led design firm and a building company as one could be the best choice for you. The biggest mistake people make is choosing a pathway without really understanding how it actually works. That's what leads to cost blowouts, it leads to delays, and it leads to a lot of frustration. This is a long process. You don't want to be frustrated from day one. It's really important to just understand what you're getting into, understand the experience that you want and that you want to go through. None of these are better, none of these are worse. They are just business models, and they're set up that way to suit certain individuals. Ultimately, the difference comes down to the level of finish, the design complexity, and the amount of resources assigned to each style of design and build approach. That's really what influences final cost, the level of quality, and the overall timeline of the project. Hope this has been helpful. I hope it's helped unravel some of those misconceptions and unravel some of those subtle differences between the options that are available